Hello everybody, welcome back to Thomas Plays Games. We're playing Factorio. This is episode 12. So this episode is a lot about fixing trains and looking for oil. A lot of problems with the oil that I've been feeling so far. The oil the oil issues don't really get resolved for a long time. And so I'm grabbing some more roboports. I'm going to eventually want to connect roboports all the way up to where the trains are, so that I can get the logistics robots to take the different fuel sources I want to power the trains by up to there to power the trains. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna have to belt them or manually insert the different power methods like wood or solid fuel or coal. You'll have to either manually insert them into the trains or put them on belts. And I figure the robots, it's such a small thing. The robots should be a lot better for it. So you do have to connect your logistics network a bit farther and kind of stretch the need for the area your robots are going to be manning, but getting those there will be helpful. I'm just going to grab a couple speed modules. Yeah, the hardest part about making the assembly machine 3s is actually the speed modules. Not being able to easily... producing 1 and 2 mostly just requires gears, circuits, and iron, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that's right. So it just requires gears, circuits, and iron, and none of those things are hard to get. If you have iron, then where you're producing, you're going to easily get gears. You just got to produce them in a assembly machine. Circuits should be on your belt, if you're doing it, or they're pretty, they're not too hard to make. But because assembly machines 4s require speed modules, speed module 1s, it makes it a little harder to make those easily. So I don't really end up actually making a system to produce those quite easily. But I'll work on it, and it'll eventually show up if I need a lot of them. Okay, so right here I'm trying to make a system so that I can get both electric furnaces and beacon production. Beacons are super helpful because they allow you to kind of project the use or the effect of modules elsewhere. And yeah, this is the setup I do here is not the ideal setup, and I don't know if you have a better one, I would highly recommend using that, or let me know if you have a much better one that is more efficient and easy to do. But I just needed a couple, so I just threw that one down. You need the reason I wanted both electric furnaces and beacons is because I want to be able to eventually switch my entire furnace setup from a largely fuel smelting into almost exclusive electricity smelting. And the electricity smelting is exactly the same as the fuel smelting, except that you can use modules on those on the electric mining drills. So that means you can add productivity modules. They only have 2 slots for modules, so that means you can only really get 10% efficiency, but 10% getting, for every 10th ore that you smelt, you get an 11th thing for free. It's pretty nice. And right here, I'm just going to try to fix some of the iron issues that I had by adding a couple of these guys. It was either iron or copper that I worked on right here. And yeah, I'm just kind of like fighting with the game to try to put down a beacon. Every time I try to place down a ghost, the robot took it out of my inventory and immediately placed it, which meant I lost it. So I just kind of place these things down. The general setup I like to uses about 8 furnaces. So yeah, it's an 8 tall stack. I kind of just make like 4 or 5 right there, but having an 8 tall stack is pretty nice. And since I'm not using the processing units for anything important, I am getting a bit of build up for those. So I have 200 or 400 of those already, and that should carry me pretty darn far. I accidentally make an extra deconstruction planner. And, just trying to manage how I want the system to go. I do a couple different blueprints for the mining areas before I end up I select one that I actually like. So this is mostly just that I want to get the full coverage of the copper area that I have. So just, add up all the things for that, run those Run the belts along there. And yeah, just get full coverage of this thing. Because having places for production or for mining of resources in your base is really, really good in the early game and extremely annoying in the late game. Because you're going to want to start, once you start getting a good train system going, you can kind of like easily expand that a whole lot. And you're going to want to go elsewhere for resources because you're going to already have a system in place to get your train stuff to your furnace area and your furnace area to your factory, or the outputs of your furnace area to your factory. And if you've got to like kind of do some weird spaghetti belts from your ores to your actual furnace area instead of from your trains to your furnace area, you're kind of like giving up on a bunch of potential efficiency just because you have stuff in the location where you're going to want to put other things. So I'm trying to just mine those things out as quickly as possible so I can start using trains to get other resources. And again, building more roboports pretty much to get more coverage in the base and eventually to get the roboports over to where the trains are. The menacing song we got. Very lonely. Yeah. I don't end up producing roboports in an assembly machine for a little while anyway, so most of the ones to cover the base I just build by hand. Since the hardest part about making roboports is getting the red circuits for them, I figure that just waiting every once in a while for the roboport to build in my inventory is okay. And if you're really like ultra hard at min-maxing, you could actually just always try to use your inventory to produce things, because technically it's an assembly machine 2, like slightly better than assembly machine 2 at production. So, you know, if you can keep it going, that would technically mean you have more efficiency. Or yeah, it would technically allow you to get more stuff. It'd be kind of a weird mess to have like all these assembly machines and then your inventory always working too. But for maximum efficiency, I guess that would be a way to do it. The reason I'm doing most of the production of those things in my inventory is just that it's convenient, really. Yeah, it's not... The reason it is more convenient to make them in my inventory is really because of the red circuits. Yeah, getting the red circuits where I want them to go is sometimes challenging. And yeah, so both beacons and electric furnaces need red circuits to actually produce. So instead of requesting them from that thing and instead of just taking them off the end of the line, like I was planning to do right there, I decided to just loop them around to produce the exact amount I need. Yeah, because I think I would rather have more beacons and furnaces than actual blue science at this moment. Yeah, I'm at a point in the game where the amount of the usefulness of every increasing science I get now is significantly less than it used to be. So I'm not really working too hard on getting extra sciences, because I figure I have just about everything I need. Once you get really good robots and power armor, you're kind of set for most things. Everything else is just kind of makes it a little easier to do things. And yeah, as always, I do a lot of running back and forth. You're like, oh, maybe I want to do this thing, and then I realize I need another thing on the other side of the factory for that. Well, the nice thing is with the power armor, I run a lot faster when I run back and forth. Yeah, so I put this thing down because I want to... I have the stone here, and I'm going to eventually want a lot of landfill so I can start actually producing or start spacing out the different areas that I want to use quite well, or quite easily. A lot of the space near the oil area and near a lot of the places where I do smelting does have a whole bunch of water around it, and the water makes it really inconvenient to do efficient blocking of stuff, or efficient placing and copying of your designs. the way up to the oil train to see what's up. Light up a couple of these guys. Make the factory look a lot less bad for you guys, so anybody who looks at this can actually see what's going on at night. I think YouTube actually makes videos or a lot of this stuff darker, so it's harder to see, which I really don't like. So lights are pretty important. Just gonna manually make the smelting setup to get another couple rows in here, so that I do always have the furnaces as backup. And you know, without I guess at this point in the game I don't really have many splitters. Yeah, so I just kind of do the not very efficient splitting or merging. Yeah, what I just did there, where I just you put two belts and shunt them together, it works, but it doesn't work very, very well if you have different outputs on either end of the belts coming in. So like right here, the one I did there where I pushed the two belts together, that would work perfectly as long as both inputs on either side are good. What I do here is I'm looking at the blueprint and I realize that I'm going to want substations to place these things down. So you put the substations there and they should power just about everything. And yeah, just make it so I can copy the beacon properly. And I figure that one should work pretty well. Getting 4 furnaces working will be, you know, it's not gonna be game changing, but it'll help some of the problems that I'm having. Yeah, I've said it before, but the late game of Factorio becomes a lot less of trying to get good designs, and a lot more of, I'm out of this thing to make this thing, now I need to go get it. Then you get it, and then you find another thing that you don't have enough of. Yeah, just pick up the red splitters, because you don't need blue splitters too badly if you're going from a blue belt, splitting to 2 red belts. 1 blue belt to 2 red belts is pretty okay. You don't lose that much by doing it. And so here I just double it up and add the same thing, so that I can actually get some more production of the different ores that I need. And yeah, unfortunately, because of the lack of iron, I'm starting to get a huge lack of lubricant, which makes it pretty difficult to space these things out well. And I figure I'll just add the copper in there, so that anytime I do run out, that'll fix it, or at least help with it. Yeah, just drop that ore off right there. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna start working on the logistics trap slots to get the auto trash whenever I can. Yeah, right now the science is kind of like stopped because there's not much red circuits, and there aren't many red circuits because there's not much plastics. No plastics because there's no oil. So you see what I mean by, like, you just run out of one specific thing, solve that problem, and then you're gonna find you need more of another thing to keep everything moving properly. And I figure I'll just balance these things out. I'm gonna use some red belt to go down here. Not as efficient as I'd like, but when you're missing blue belt, you gotta use what you got. Okay, so yeah, I just grab some wood so that I can power the car, go out and explore a little bit. I was hoping at this point that the oil would be just a little bit out of the map range, but it turns out it's actually really, really far out. Far enough that it's actually difficult to push through. So there's going to be a lot of exploration here. So I kind of go out until I see some biters, and then I pop back. And go, taking those guys out. When you're this close to the base, the biters are still level 1 and level 2, so they're not that hard to kill. Even the worms aren't that bad. With these shields, I should be fine, as long as I don't run out of ammo. Yeah, just take all these guys out. They're swarming pretty well, but they're not doing enough damage. Yeah, none of these things do enough damage that I actually have to worry, because they can't really breach the shields. And you just kind of run around and let the laser defenses deal with that, or deal with the rest of them. Take out another couple biters bases. And yeah, I'm just kind of cleaning up the area around. It would have been I figure I'll conserve ammo by letting the lasers take these things out. They're not that bad. Yeah, it would have been really, really nice to actually get the oil close by. Since I've played a bit farther than this, and I have actually solved the oil problem, I know for a fact that most of the oil is far enough away that I can't easily find it without going very far away from the base. And there's a lake up to my, just directly up here. And what I actually end up doing to take it out, or to get oil, is I build a path straight through the lake, way, way, way up, and then just use trains to get there. So there's some huge, huge oil patches, but they're pretty far away. Yeah, just taking out some more biter bases, exploring around the map, seeing what I can see. There's a lot of ore patches. I don't know why the Factorio spawn has oil so far away. I think there must be something to do with how the map is generated, where oil just kind of gets pushed farther and further, and it's more and more difficult to get in an early game sense. So yeah, you can see I'm pretty far away from the base. Like I've been walking a pretty decent distance, clearing out biter bases where I find them, but I still haven't found oil at this point. And to find the oil, I have to go way, way up north and around the lake to the left. Yeah, just taking out these things. I'm gonna run out of guns or bullets pretty soon if I keep doing it like this. Yeah, there we go. So completely out of ammo. To the point where I'm just trying to stand around and let the lasers kill them. Yeah, luckily I have enough resources on me to actually do something about this. But I think here is where I actually die. Yeah, so I would have died right there if I didn't reload, which would have been the first death of the series, and mostly because of lack of planning. So what I do here is I just kind of run around, do a ring around the rosy with the biters until I make ammo. But yeah, I really should have planned this better. I didn't think I'd be out this long. I was assuming oil would be close. And yeah, once you get lasers, once you get good bullets, and once you get power armor shields, biters are not dangerous unless they surround you like they did there. Because if they surround you enough that you can't actually take them out, you're going to have a bad time. So here I'm just since the bases are kind of spaced out pretty well, I'm just going to let the laser turret take everything out. I don't take enough damage from the worms that I have to worry. Although, it does take a little bit of time. Yeah, I'll just cut down some of the trees so I can actually walk forward. Yeah, big worms do take a bit. Yeah, we're doing... Okay, yeah, so And yeah, keep in mind, this right now this episode's playing back at 1.8 times speed, so I have to wait, a good 10 to 20 seconds before I can kill those big worms and these biter bases. Yeah, just wait and let the laser turrets take those things out. Gonna drive back with the car, hit a tree. And yeah, just heading all the way back. So I was as you just saw, I was that far away from the base, far enough that it was actually an issue. I just hop out of the car, let things happen. I was far enough that I actually was running into some pretty big biter bases, and I still didn't see any oil. So that gives you a sense of how far I actually had to go to get oil. And you'll be able to see in episode like 14 or 13, I think, like where I actually found oil and how much there was when I found it. And I'm sure you've noticed here, I forgot my car. But I do notice that the train is full, but it's not working. So spending a minute looking at that, and as I puzzled out afterwards, it turns out I used circuit, not cargo. So this one says, yeah, one of them says cargo, one of them says circuits. And I think I figure it out soon. Hopefully I'm not... No, I still think I hadn't figured it out at this point. Dang it. Okay, well, I ride this baby back into the base. Not a far ride, but get some oil going. Okay, so cargo, and come on, past Thomas, just realize. Yeah, the circuit setup is totally different. I haven't actually puzzled out how to work on circuits with trains yet. I know you can use them for a lot of really cool things, but the need hasn't really arisen when the train system is robust enough that it seems to work. So by looking at this, by just waiting for the oil barrels, I can figure out that one of them definitely works and one of them definitely doesn't. So, and there you go. I think I finally figured it out. Okay, so instead of circuit count, I used item count. There we go. I want this one to be equal to or less than 1 or equal to 0. I just tell it to come back, and I want 10 seconds of inactivity. And that should work just fine. I'm going to hop in just to get a ride to make sure that I do actually solve this problem properly. Okay, and confident that I've finally solved that issue, I head back to the base. So that's the kind of thing that you just run into, and you're just not really, like, you're paying attention, but you're just not, like, looking at every single thing you do. Yeah, so it was a little annoying to have that problem happen, but I didn't miss out on too much oil. The oil will still be there. And the other oil is far enough away that it's still an issue. I figure I'll just add in a good connection for copper. And there we go. So we got 2 pretty good belts going in straight into the base. Anytime I run out, the copper should be, for now, should have enough throughput to power the factory well. Okay, now that I'm back in base, the robots are filling my inventory with things. Yeah, make some more roboports, of course. Just slowly filling out the area there, and there is actually a biter attack. So this is when I start to realize, well, 1, I realize that the iron's pretty low, and 2, I see that the biters are actually getting pretty close. So noticing how low the actual iron mining area is, I'm gonna solve that problem by adding a bunch of extra mining drills. And to do that, I just copy out I should be copying out the way that the stuff here was done. I kind of just placed down the poles in a way that I think works out, but it ends up not being very scalable. So you get 20 of those, but the poles are going to be weirdly placed. And I figure that's, it's a price I'll have to pay. Get those guys in there too. And yeah, it's definitely one of the nice things about the robots. They let you do just the bulk elimination of that kind of stuff. And they're just adding in the extra thing. So that's another 20 mining, or I think 22 drills in there. And an extra amount there. Yeah, so I'm slowly working my way with the roboports over to the train area. Get the power from the oil area. And yeah, now that I'm there, I can get a whole bunch of stuff from the robots. And yeah, let the robots take all my artifacts. I don't need them anymore. The artifacts become useful for purple science and for modules after you get power armor. I mean, I guess you could stack your power armor a whole bunch. That gives you extra armor and shields. If I remember correctly, it just never seemed worth it when you could just have more. You just have more shields, and if you ever get to a point where you leave your shields, then you're already made a huge mistake. So yeah, you can see I finally by this time noticed that I forgot my car, so I just built a new one. Now keep trying to explore. Forgot the some power. Car goes down. Now that the oil is here, you can see that the science picks up. It's kind of this ebb and flow of getting stuff coming back and forth. I'm gonna hop in the car, try to drive around and see what I can see. Just kind of plow right through a few trees again. Yeah, make myself a path along the river. And yeah, some more repair packs so the cars can see. So yeah, explore the entire south side of that river there. And I can tell you for a fact, no oil there either. It ruins a bit of the mystery, I guess. Doing a post-commentary so I can tell you all how bad or how not successful this the mission was. But yeah, so, you know, kind of just preliminary explorations here. Kind of decide to go back, hop in the car. The car looks very fast at this speed. Yeah. Okay, checking out the power, just make sure that there's no problems. It's really, really easy when you're doing a solar setup to get into this problem where every day, at the end of the day, you completely run out of power and everything just turns off for like a minute or two. And the problem solves, and then that just means that you're very, very slowly running out of a lot of power. You're running into a lot of problems because you're getting like 20% efficiency on your factory. Or 20% loss on efficiency, or whatever the number might be. But downtime isn't good, and it's especially bad if the reason you're dropping power is because biters are attacking, and you're using laser turrets for your defenses. Because then you only have whatever non-solar power you have to back them up. If you don't have a lot of accumulators, just kind of in some weird system where you have extra power in escrow for other things. So I just want to make sure I don't run into any issues like that. So I just throw down another power system. And I like to keep a couple steam engines still running, just in case I do run out of any power. Laser turrets do get priority, if I remember correctly. They do get priority over anything else, so you don't have to worry too bad about running out of those things. And here's what I want to do with this thing is something I saw Bentham do from Mangled Port Gaming, where you set up a couple. Yeah, so you set up what they call it, radar. So you set up a radar, some accumulators. Well, he didn't use accumulators, but I like to do them. You set up radar, accumulators, and solar panels. And if you get all those things together, you can kind of disconnect them from the main grid, which means they can just go anywhere because the solar will take power in the day, the accumulators will power at night. And if you just kind of can carry those in your inventory, plop them down around the map, you can see more and more of the map as you get those around. And I want to put those down because I want to be able to, or I want to run around, put them down to get some scouting information outside of the main base that I have. And they're particularly useful if you want to explore areas that have a lot of biters in them, because you can avoid the biters pretty well. So I try to set that first one down, and once the daytime comes, it'll start powering, give me a bit more insight into what is happening in the base. And I'm just going to drive off into the desert. Again, looking for... Just looking for oil, really. That's I can't really fluff it up at all. I just need oil really, really badly. And the fact that I don't have any is kind of... It's kind of surprising that it spawns so far away. And I guess I was lucky that I did get some oil at the start, because if you actually end up with oil this far away without, not in the kind of position I was in, so like if you don't have oil close by, you can't get Tech 3, so that makes it really, really tough to get rid of biters, because you'd be using like conventional turrets and other things like that. So yeah, I do eventually upgrade to flamethrowers to take out biter bases, especially as I move farther and farther out where the evolution factor, or where the evolution of biters is higher. I'm using regular bullets right now, piercing bullets, just because that's what I have, is what I have produced. Using advanced shotguns would work really well, but the flamethrowers is probably the best bet if you do want to take out a lot of biters. And I do upgrade the flamethrower, or I do upgrade to flamethrowers eventually. I figure I'll just let my laser things get rid of these guys. Try to run through these spitters, take them out because they're easier to kill. And I don't want to get surrounded like I did last time where I had to reload, so just gonna kite these guys for a little bit. Yep, killing these guys, getting back to the car. There we go. All the spitters dealt with. There's another base there. I don't see any in the immediate vicinity. Okay, taking out more bases. Yeah, flamethrowers are the best because you can kind of just run in and then hold the space bar or the C key, whichever one you use to shoot. You just kind of run to the middle of a biter base and just spin around with the flamethrower on, immediately getting rid of everything. So yeah, I'm just walking up here, finding the edge of a lake, no oil again, can't do anything, and I guess that's where I stop. In between episodes, I think I do a little more exploration looking for oil, but you'll have to see that next time. Thank you for watching Thomas Plays Game. I hope to see you all later. Goodbye.